iamhealthy is an educational organization. iamhealthy is a private company specialized in training and educational areas: medicine, nutritients, general topics, nutrition facts, agriculture, plants and animals, recipes and cooking guides. Today's topic: how to grow hazelnut trees. Number 1. When to plant. Hazelnut transplants are best planted in early to late winter when the plants are dormant, and heat won't shock the tree. If growing hazelnuts from seed, plant them outdoors or indoors in the fall. Hazelnuts grow fairly quickly with a gain of 13 to 24 inches per year. Number 2. Propagation. Filbert trees can be propagated in a number of ways. You can start them from seed, transplant nursery stock, or grow them from runners. Number 3. Growing from seeds. If you have lots of time and you're not in a rush to bring in your first harvest, starting from seed can be a very economical option. If you can find wild seeds from another hazel tree, it may even be free. Before sowing your seeds, you can test their viability by submerging them in water. Discard any that float to the top. Next, score the seeds to aid germination. You can do this by using a file to carefully create a small slash in the outer seed coat. In the fall, plant the seeds in the garden 15 feet apart and 2 inches deep, with the slightly pointed side facing downward. Protect them over the winter with a cold frame or a thick layer of mulch. You can also start seeds in pots in the fall. Plant one seed an inch or 2 deep in an 8-inch pot filled with potting soil. Germination takes several months, so be patient. Keep the pots outside on a covered porch, or somewhere that they won't become waterlogged. Once the weather warms in spring, water regularly to maintain consistent moisture, and seedlings should appear after a few weeks. Alternatively, you can cold stratify seeds indoors by putting them into a zip-top bag filled with 1 part sand and 1 part peat moss. Keep it in the refrigerator over the winter and then move the bag to a warm place in your house for a few days, or until you see signs of germination. After the seeds have sprouted, plant each seedling in an 8-inch pot filled with potting soil. Continue to grow the seedlings in the pots over the summer, keeping them in part shade, and transplant into the ground in the fall once seedlings reach 8 to 10 inches in height. Number 4. From seedlings or transplanting. Saplings purchased as nursery stock or started from seed the previous year can be planted in the ground in late fall or winter during dormancy, to prevent heat stress and reduce the need for watering. Space transplants 15 to 20 feet apart and plant them in holes dug to the depth of the roots and twice as wide. Number 5. From runners. You can also propagate filberts from the suckers that appear around the base of an existing shrub, or from underground runners. During early dormancy in the late fall, dig up a sucker and the attached roots. Replant runners about 15 feet apart a foot below the soil line. Number 6. How to care for hazelnuts. Hazelnuts are relatively easy to care for and don't usually require any special treatment. Though hazelnut can handle dry conditions, they do best if you water them regularly with at least 1 inch of water every 10 days. Number 7. Pollination. In spring, hazelnut bushes produce yellowish male catkins and tiny red female flowers on the same plant. Hazelnuts form catkins and flowers early in the spring and won't form leaves till several weeks later. Because they flower so early, insects are still dormant, so wind has to do the work of pollination. That's good news because it means don't have to wait for bees or butterflies, and you don't have to do any manual pollination, as some fussy plants require. Even though they produce both male and female flowers, they still require cross-pollination with another hazelnut. Plant in pairs or be sure that a nearby neighbor has some hazelnut plants. Nut clusters, called burrs, form about the same time the plant leaves out. The burrs contain anywhere from 1 to 12 nuts inside. Nuts mature inside the burr and are ripe in the fall. Number 8. Shaping. Hazelnuts will naturally grow into a shrub, but you can also prune them into the shape of a tree. To form a tree, choose 6 strong branches near the upper part of the bush and trim everything below, as well as any low-hanging branches. If you allow them to take their natural shape, you won't need to do much pruning. Snip the suckers that grow out of the roots and thin the bush evenly on occasion in the winter when the plant is dormant. Number 9. Fertilizing. Fertilize the plants in spring with well-rotted organic matter or a well-balanced fertilizer sprinkled into the drip line of the tree. Granular fertilizer should be worked into the earth surrounding the tree. Use 2 pounds of fertilizer per 100 square feet of soil. Number 10. Harvesting hazelnuts. The nuts are ready to collect in autumn, fall as soon as the husks have yellowed. Pick them from the tree, or if they're perfectly ripe you may be able to shake them off onto a tarpaulin or sheet. Store your cache of nuts in a dry, airy place within crates, nets, cloth bags or slatted boxes. Squirrels are natural acrobats, and they're very determined. How to keep your nuts safe from their marauding grasp is a tricky one. Due to the way hazelnuts are grown, there's little you can do to keep squirrels off your trees, other than enclose them in a wire mesh-clad fruit cage, which seems a bit excessive. The only practical answer is eagle-eyed vigilance. Should squirrels take more than their fair share, then get out there and pick them at once. They may be slightly underripe, but the squirrels wouldn't be after them if they didn't think they were ready to eat. Dry your nuts by spreading them out onto trays, turning them every few days for an even result. Dry them indoors in a warm place for 2 to 3 weeks. Once they are dry you can scrape away the papery husks and store, either in or out of their shells. Check out videos on our channel and subscribe for more.